this is a grower profile. So all of the really the shortcuts and tools and these cues, we call them, these squares in the middle, and those are different, really kind of reminders and really shortcuts to different things that you need to do in your job. So we'll kind of look at that a little bit as I'm creating work orders and assignments and that. You'll see they'll show up in here on that. So I'll show how you as a production manager really can assign the different tasks and that to different employees, different groups. And so we'll go into that. So let's jump right in from where we were last time. So I'm going to go to our production planning. And if you recall, think of it like a spreadsheet. I always bring up spreadsheets. I know everybody loves spreadsheets. And so this system really is a lot like that. I mean, it has all the power, though, that spreadsheets don't have. But when I bring up that this is just like a spreadsheet, I mean for the input, for copying and pasting, all these things that you like to do in Excel, well, this system, is laid out like that and looks and acts a lot like Excel, and they do that on purpose. But then you have all the power of having your sales, your accounting, your inventory, production, all of that in the same system, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say get data here. What I did here is I have my planning group. I explained this last time, but real quick, you create different groups. You could create one group of everything that you grow if you want, or you can segment it in different things that you like to plan together. So I just created a group and added all these different items in there. You can see, let me close this up a little bit. So we got a bunch of hydrangea and some Weigelia or Wiglia. Everybody says it different. So the reason that these numbers are red right now is that, they have not been what we call released. So this is kind of a work in progress. If I see red numbers, I know I'm still kind of working on this, okay? Like I said, look, it really looks like a big spreadsheet that we put numbers in. And now when I release this, it's gonna actually create a production job for every one of those numbers. Okay, looks like it's pretty quick, actually, that it crunches these jobs that quick, because you can see it's saying that it created 56 different jobs, okay? And remember, this is really the whole concept of this grower add-on to Business Central, is that it allows you to create production jobs. And the production job, let's take a look at one real quick, has all the information, everything from your inputs to your labor to machines if you need them. Just basic information about the job, that it's hydrangea, what location I'm doing it at. I forgot to mention that, I specified that's like the physical address. I call it my blue location is where we're growing this. And I'm doing what's called forward planning in this. So really the date that I put in to start this week, that means I'm planting it this week. The system could also go backwards. If I wanted the number to go into the sales week, it would go backwards and tell me when I have to start this. But for this exercise, I am going forward. So we're working off of plant date. Okay. So a little review here. There's two sections to a job. Production scheme. It's really just time and space. Okay. I got my different phases that I named myself. I call this the propagation phase. Well, we're growing 3,000 of them first in trays. You can see my unit of measure here is containers. And then actually at the next phase, we're going to be potting them and growing them on. And then this is really the exciting part, I think, is that, we're going to segment the inventory. We know that when we grow, in this case, all these shrubs, they're not going to finish at the same time. We planted them all at the same time. Some of them are going to have bud only, some of them are going to have crack and color. Everybody's got different codes or grades they use, but you get the idea. I'm only using 3 of them, bud only, cracking color, and full color. But I'm going to show you how we're going to post that to the inventory. Really valuable piece of the software. I actually already put in kind of a planned quantity or percentages. So obviously I don't know the day we plant it what we think will be bud only when this is ready, crack and color and so on. You can see I put percentages in there, so it's already taking this, what are we doing, 3,000 plants, and it's already predicting that I'll have 2,700 bud only. And this is from, our experience. And this is really a way so you can look at the availability, even though they're not to this point, really what you're expecting, okay? What goes along with this is all the activities. And that's really, we're going to hit this hard today, is this is really the power here of during these different coinciding phases above. Well, this is what happens with propagation, sticking. And we have all of our inputs, our hydrangea, limelight rooted cutting, our 38 cell tray we're going to plant it in. We got soil, we got some rooting hormone. So really our bill of materials, if you think manufacturing, okay? And I even have a pot filling machine, so where I'm able to even schedule that. You may have 1 or 2 pot filling machines, and you're going to know what jobs are scheduled. You can know how many hours the machine ran, and that. And these bold lines here is the labor. You know, we need production labor to do the sticking. We need production labor to transplant these. And then we're also going to need labor to space it. You can see down here at the very last phase here, grow 2, we space it. All of our dates are in here when this is going to happen, but the key is, look at, they're all just planned, right? What's great about this system is look at the column right next to it as actual date. We're always going to know what we planned for what date, how many we planned, and then always going to have right next to that the actual. Honestly, that's something that usually a lot of nurseries struggle with, to really have that. Well, we know what we planned. We know when we planned it, but it's hard for them to really pull the data together to see what the actual is. Not in this system. You know, very, very strong in that way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move out of this job here, but just one last thing. Remember, all of this is about the activities, okay? This is every activity that needs to happen. But think if you had 1,000 different jobs out there. We created 54, but every job that's out there, we're going to be able to look at all of these activity lines to see total how much sticking we have to do, how much transplanting, whatever activity, okay? And the best part about this is if we scroll all the way to the right, all of our costs are in there. So I already, by clicking statistics, this is predicting this should cost me about $16,500 to grow these. Okay, it's got labor costs in there, material costs. Any of these can be clicked on to go see what it's coming from. See, this is our rooted cutting, you know, our tray, all of those things. And the actual prediction. It should, because I've put in the system my labor norms saying about how many we plant per hour by variety. So it's taking that and saying it should take about 52 hours labor costs. Not doing any heating cost, energy or usage, area usage, all of that can be set in by square foot, by item, by variety, all that. I don't have any of that, but then you can see the actual right next to it. As we start posting these work orders, these actual costs are going to update, okay? All right, let's get into some execution. Okay, so now I created all those jobs. Now I'm going to go to, you know, obviously we don't want to go to each of these 54 jobs to have to go into each job and post that we planted it or whatever. We use what's called production control. And what this does is we can use this tool to really look at all the activity lines that are in those jobs. I'm going to go to today's date and change it to week. We'll say get data. All right, so there's those jobs that we planted, and the first thing that happens is sticking. So this all the same activity. I kind of kept this real clean, but just real quick, you can see if I change this to like year. Now you can see there's transplanting, sticking, you know, all the different activities. Okay, so you could be in charge of you know, only transplanting or only sticking. Well, we got a lot of filter sets here for that. If you want to come in and you are only looking at one particular production phase, or you only want to look at spacing or any of that, because that's what you're in charge of, lots of different ways to filter this. So you don't really have to look at everything. I'm going to go switch this back to week. We'll just make sure the data is updated. But look at what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and close this. So we got the date. It goes to, I plan by week. It usually goes to the Monday, or it always goes to that Monday of that week. You can set that however you want. But you know, the planned date just gives you something to go off of. How often you do that, who knows? But in the work orders, we're going to put the actual date, so we'll always be able to see, you know, how close has this been. Okay, so you can see we got the job number, where it's coming from, what the variety is, how many. all of these are in plan status right now. So that's the first thing we got to take care of. And also you can see what position code. I planned them to be at the blue location in house B. So it specifies that. And you can see there's a column next to it that says current position code. So if we move these after we start this, it's going to show where we planned to put it and where we did. So, I mean, you can see the power in that of really being able to see how often are we doing what we plan to do. Okay. All right. So first thing we got to do, all of these are in plan. This is kind of like our sandbox, right? And we can, I showed a little bit on the last webinar how we can look at our labor, we can look at our spacing and all that when all the jobs are planned. But now we're to the point, okay, we're going to release these because we're actually going to do it. So what I'm going to do is go like this real quick. I'm going to select all of them and just click release. Okay, so all these, now you can see this job status is all released. And really what you do from here is you create the work order. So think of this as you're coming in, we're looking at next week or 2 weeks out, however far, and you're really kind of planning, you know, what you're going to do. I do not have any lot numbers, but you can see in this column says lot indicator. You can assign lots here if you want somebody, you know, that at a higher level or a production manager here. That also can be done on the line when they open the work order if they want to, you know, whatever seed lot or what have you they're using. Oh, something's printing. I have to kill my daughter or whoever just printed this. I'm gonna pause just a second. Okay, so you can see here that we got a lot indicator. And like I said, so you can assign lots from here. You can assign them on the line wherever. So you can do that. But again, we're planning what we're doing. So I released all these orders. And now what we're going to do, I can just highlight one of these and just say create documents. So what did that do? That just created a work order for this one hydrangea limelight 2 gallon. Okay, so let's go take a look at it. You know, sometimes we've had clients, and I don't mean to laugh, but you know that say, you know, we can't do work orders, right? Our people can't do work orders. And then my question is always, well, how do they know what they're going to do that day? Oh, well, we printed up on a piece of paper. You know what they do? Well, there's your work order, right? We have to tell the system what we did so it can update the system, right? Garbage in, garbage out. If we don't tell the system, it's never going to know. So this is all work order based. So each activity has a work order. So not too complicated. All the user has to do is put what date they did it and how many they did, right? But there is a lot of information in here. Look at right now we're planning 3,000. And if you look below, here's all my inputs. You know, I need 3,000 limelight cuttings. I need 7838 cell trays. You know, it's getting all this from the job and soil and so on. But we know so many of the times whatever we plan doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out that way. So first of all, we're on the 23rd, so we didn't plan it the 19th. So I'm going to actually put the 23rd. Remember, we're going to always be able to see that we did plan to do it on 7/19. You know, that's really valuable when they plan it a week or two late, you know, and you don't even know it. So that means the finish time is going to push out. So that's really great. And plus 3,000 we wanted to, but really 2,950 is really what we ended up doing. Maybe some of the cuttings were bad, what have you. We dropped some. I'm not going to do this right now, but we can register scrap if for some reason you want to tell the system why you didn't get 3,000 in the reason code for reporting later. We can absolutely do that. But what I want you to notice is right when I click enter here, now all of my input changes down here. Because when I post this work order, it's going to take 2,950 limelight rooted cuttings out of inventory, plus how many trays we used and things like that. So that happens automatically when we do this. So okay, all I got to do here is post this. It can be a workflow if for some reason all you want them to do is mark it completed so somebody later can approve all of them, look through them. I'm going to skip that and say approve and post. Okay. Okay, it's been posted. All right. So now we're back and I can actually jump to this job. Let's see what it looks like. Look at what we got here. Now we're in the propagation phase. 2,950. That's what we ended up planting. Now you can see down here in the activity scheme, look at there's the work order number, labor, and it shows that it was executed. The date was planned was 7/19. Look, our actual 7/23. So that's how it works. So if I was you, here's what I would be thinking. Do I have to go through, and we got 54 jobs out there or whatever, or at least for this week, 15 or whatever we have on the screen here. Do we have to open every single work order to register it? Some customers do. You know, you can print them. You know, some print them up on paper, but literally that you can have these work orders up on a tablet, on a screen, on the line. You know, we do it lots of different ways. But what I want to show you now is a pretty slick way to do this and be able to register all of these, kind of make a working list out of all this, because right, it's all sticking. So why can't we just have a list of all the sticking activities or work orders all in the same? Well, we can do that. It's called an assignment. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on this second job we haven't started yet, and I'm going to say assign to. I'm the only production manager in here, so everything's my responsibility. Now you can see right here that I have assigned it to me and I got an assignment number. So now, this is pretty neat. So watch, I'm going to click these. And so now you can see all of these ones that are checked, I'm going to add to assignment and add to this sticking assignment. Now you can see that every one of these sticking work orders all has the same assignment number, okay? We jump back here, let me just refresh my screen here. Now you can see under my labor control monitor, look at my assignments, there's one assigned to me. Think about all your different production people. As you're assigning these things in their role center, they'll be able to see what's assigned to them, what they got to do. So let's just click in there. Let's go check out this assignment. All right, there we go. You can see, I can show you some of the general information here. So we got this assignment, it's assigned to me, tells basic things. We can actually put hours in here if you want to track how long it takes you to do all these. It will post to all the jobs your labor, and it actually figures out by the quantity to how to disperse the labor to the different jobs. I'm not going to really do that today, but take a look at what we got here. These are all those different work orders, and so all you really need to do is just go down and say how many you planted, like we did 2,500. This one we did all 3,000, and so on. So as you're working through this, we can mark different lines as complete. Like if I want to be able to say this is complete, just that line. This is a way for production managers and that to look at these assignments and see how far they are. You know, as you imagine, these can get pretty large and pretty long, but really the moral of the story here that I'm trying to get you to understand is that you can take these groups of work orders, put them into one assignment, and then actually have this on a screen. And as you work through all the different varieties, put in the number. A lot quicker than going through and open up, 15 different work orders one at a time. But what's going to happen is I'm not going to take time to fill all this out, but when this is all completed, when I post, it goes and posts all these work orders and to their corresponding jobs. All right. It's a little bit about assignment. So what I'm going to do go look at one of our planned jobs here. Oops. Let's look at this one that's in production. Okay, here's the one. It's in production because we actually posted a work order to it. Okay, delivery week, it's supposed to be 25 of 22. I'm going to say week 25 of 22. Well, it's not liking that. We're going to go the slow way here. Okay. So what I did is I just went to the last week where these jobs are supposed to finish. And you can see that we have this one in production that we've been working with, and we have an inspection. Okay, the reason we have an inspection is because this is where we're going to post this and really say what grade or stage they're in as far as bud only and crack and color and that stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll create the work order for this one. We'll go take a look at it. All right, we don't have any consumption, but what we're doing here is we're outputting. Okay, so we worked through at the end here. I know we were planning 3,000. I got 2,950. And remember my prediction, because I had those percentages in the plan, so it's thinking we should have about 2,655 in bud only. You know, I'm gonna say I got my output quantity here, because this is showing our production quantity, right? It always saves what we thought we were gonna have. So then I can say, we'll just leave that, and I'll say we have 150 of these. And 150 of these. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and just post this, because what we did is we know we have 2,950. So we're going to split that up. I'm going to go ahead and go here to actions, and let's see if we can post it. All right, it's been posted. Now the big reveal. So now that we've done that, so think about what we've done. We planned the jobs, then we went in and we saw how we can use production control to see what activities. So you're looking at all the activities for all the jobs you have out there, and also planning, assigning them. Remember, we assigned a work order and also added a lot of different work orders. That was the same task or activity, as we say, to make it, you know, one giant work order, so to speak. And now we actually posted to output. So I'm going to go to one of my items here. Let's go to our shrubs. Limelight 2 gallon right here. Look at on-hand inventory. There's that 2,955. I'm going to click on that. There we go. So anybody, whether you're in sales, accounting, production, or what, I know that we have 152 gallons at full color. I have 150 at crack and color, and 2,655 at bud only. So it's your decision whether or not you publish, you know, it segmented like that to your customers, but pretty slick, I think. We do have, I'm not going to go into it in the webinar today, but then we have tools for you weekly or however often you go out there to actually update these, because obviously this is a growing product that's going to change. So we go back and actually change these numbers, which is very simple to do, but I think it shows a lot of power there just by posting that work order. We got it all. All right. One last thing, this is a little bit out of order. I was talking about the purchasing or materials. So we normally would have planned the jobs and that, or planned your season, what have you, and then ran this to see what we have to purchase and when. So I'm a little bit out of order, but it's just a webinar, right? So what this is going to do is I'm going to go in here and say, manage report. Okay, actions. I'm going to say calculate plan. And so you can see here, I have a date range. So I'm looking between 7/9 and 21 and 12/31/22. I have a big range. I'm not going to use a forecast, but you can. I could literally have a forecast which just acts as like a spreadsheet of what you're planning to do. You can run this engine, purchasing engine, against that spreadsheet, and it'll create your purchase orders for you. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. You can also do categories. I'm going to leave it open, but maybe you're only in charge of liners or containers or something. But for this example, I'm just going to take that out. And we're looking at the blue warehouse. So probably look a little busy, but what this is going to do is scan through and look at all those jobs out there, and it's looking at the jobs, and it's looking at what we have on hand inventory and that, and it's trying to figure out demand of things that we need to purchase. And so it's going through everything in the system. It just doesn't tell you what to purchase, it tells you when to purchase. Very powerful. And the best part is that it will actually make the POs for you. So you can see here, I'm just looking up at the top here. Look at, these are a lot of rooted cuttings. We got to order these rooted cuttings for, to plant. Even though I already created some jobs for these, that's because I have my settings to allow me to do that. You can set it where obviously if you don't have inventory of the input, it's not going to let you start the job. But so each one of these lines would be a purchase order. It's saying that I need these rooted cuttings, how many I need, and when they need to be here, 7/19/2021. It even has the job number that it's going to go to. So that's very helpful. Here's my vendor. I get these from Spring Meadow, right? Any of these things can be changed. If you want to change the dates, update any of them. But the key thing is here, look, it says new. We have new, it means a new PO is what this is suggesting to do. But look at down here, one of them says cancel. So I guess at one time I had planned 1,950. I deleted that job, something. So now there's a PO out there and it's saying, hey, you should cancel this. Really powerful tool, because if I say carry out action message, it's going to create POs for all these. It's going to cancel these, and so on. Pretty cool. I don't want a whole bunch of created POs, so I'm not going to create them, but you get the idea.